Good day everyone, I will present to you my graphic portfolio. So first is the Americanism. Americanism is an ideal of loyal patriotism, religious tolerance, righteous freedom, fearless courage, and an honest integrity, abiding faith in the commanding destiny of the United States and fathomless love for the principles that led our forefathers to found this country. It is complete and unqualified loyalty to the ideals of government. So here is the principles of Americanism. First is the freedom of worship. Second is the freedom of speech and press, which is very important. Next is the freedom of assemblage and the right to pursue their happiness. And last is the freedom to work in such occupation. Next is the political parties and party system. So how does political parties and party system differ? In political parties, it is when citizens join political parties and volunteer their time, donate money, and vote for their leaders. They are exercising their basic democratic rights, while in a party system, it is refers to the typical structures of parties within a political system. So it describes the normal number of parties that complete effectively. So this is the Venn diagram consisting of the difference between the two, the political parties and party system. So as what I'm saying, political parties is the persons organized to acquire the political power, while the party system is the typical structure of parties within a political system, and both political parties and party system are part of the politics. Next is the presidential selection. This is the process of electing a president every 4 years has evolved over time. This evolution has resulted from attempts to correct the procedures first offered by the framers of the Constitution and as a result of political parties rising power as gatekeepers to the presidency. So there are two processes in presidential selection. First is the selecting the candidate, the party process. The framers of the Constitution made no provision in the document for the establishment of political parties. The caucus or large-scale gathering was made up of the legislators in the Congress who meet informally to decide on nominees from their respective parties. The rise of the presidential primary and caucus system as the main means by which presidential candidates are selected has had a number of anticipated and unanticipated consequences. While on the other hand, the general election, the early presidential elections conducted along the lines of the original process outlined in the Constitution proved unsatisfactory. The general election usually features a series of debates between the presidential contenders as well as a debate among vice presidential candidates. Because the stakes are high, quite a bit of money and resources are expended on all sides. Attempts to rein in the mounting cost of modern general election campaigns have proven ineffective. So next is the Supreme Court. The court has original jurisdiction and a case is tried before the court over certain cases that is suits two or more states and or cases involving ambassadors and the other public ministers. The court has appellate jurisdiction that can hear the case on appeal on almost any other case that involve a point of constitutional or federal law. So here is the graphic consisting of the legislative branch, executive branch, judicial branch that is connected to the Supreme Court. As you can notice, there were an arrow from the legislative branch pointing the arrowhead to the executive branch. So legislative branch are the one who writes the laws, confirm presidential appointments, ratifies treaties, grants money, and declares war. So ang legislative branch may reject the appointments and treaties and may also withhold funding for presidential initiatives and may impeach president. So executive branch pointing the arrow to judicial branch. The executive branch proposes laws, administers the laws, commands armed forces, appoints ambassadors and other officials, conducts foreign policy. So from the judicial branch, there's an arrow pointing to legislative branch. Then judicial branch is the Supreme Court and it interprets the Constitution and other laws, reviews lower court decisions. The executive branch is the one who will appoint judges in the judicial branch. Then the legislative branch may propose constitutional amendments to overrule judicial decisions and may impeach the Supreme Court justices. They may also reject appointments to the Supreme Court. So take a look for executive branch pointing the arrow to legislative branch. Executive branch may adjourn Congress in certain situations and they can also veto the bills. So judicial branch pointing the arrow to legislative branch may declare laws. So the legislative consists of the Congress and the executive is the president, while in the judicial branch it is the Supreme Court. So next is interest groups. All interest groups share a desire to affect government policy to benefit themselves or their causes. Their goal could be a policy that exclusively benefits group members or one segment of society like government, the subsidies for farmers, or a policy that advances a broader public purpose. What is the advantages of interest groups? So interest groups has many opinions combined. One organization is stronger than one opinion. It makes people interested in public affairs and get people involved in public affairs also. They also check and balance each other. What interest groups do? Interest groups' powers are disproportionate to their size. Staff of interest groups can promote a policy that their members do not agree with, and they can use unethical tactics. They also claim that they represent more people than they really do. Following the interest groups is the federal bureaucracy. The federal bureaucracy is the unelected administrative body in the executive branch. It is the backbone of the U.S. government and is arranged into departments, agencies, and commissions. The main function of this federal bureaucracy is to carry out the policy and work on the finer details of the bills passed by Congress. So here is the diagram of federal bureaucracy headed by the President. Connected to the President is the Congress. Under the President is the Executive Office of the President, the Cabinet Departments, Independent Executive Agencies, and Independent Regulatory Commission. While under in the Congress is the Cabinet Departments, Independent Executive Agencies, Independent Regulatory Commissions. Under both President and Congress is the government corporations. Next is the domestic policy. It refers to the plans and actions taken by a national government to deal with issues and needs present within the country itself. It is also generally developed by the federal government, often in consultation with state and local governments. It's the process of dealing with U.S. relations and issues with other nations is known as foreign policy. Foreign policy of a country is formulated to safeguard and promote its national interest in the conduct of relations with other countries bilaterally and multilaterally. It is a direct reflection of a country's traditional values and overall national policies, her aspirations and self-perceptions. Foreign policies, strategies, methods, guidelines, agreements that is usually national governments used to perform their actions in the international arena.